Hello, welcome to CR Wrestling Commentary. I'm your host, Cedric Kennedy, and I'll be giving my thoughts on them boys. And look, Jay Briscoe, he passed away. I don't like saying that, because when you pass away, it was reserved back in the day. It was reserved for those who died of old age, or those who fought an illness long enough and they could no longer hold on, or they no longer wanted to hold on. There's a difference. In this, some would like to say murdered, and no, he was killed, and we don't know what went on for it, but yeah, it was a car accident. And I didn't want to say anything because I figured I knew that Jim Cornette, Brian Last would certainly get the lowdown on any and everything that happened. I checked Wikipedia. So storyline for me is I decided to listen to Dax Harwood. He had a show, and the graphic looked weird. I didn't understand it. Didn't seem to be right. So I started listening to it, and then the opening was that Jay Briscoe had died, and that hit hard. It was sudden. He's coming off the heels of another 5-star stellar match, dog collar match. It wasn't needed. The match wasn't needed, but they made that match great. You overlooked if it was even necessary or not, but because that's how great the Briscoes were / are. I say are because of memory. So finding out, and then I do the Wikipedia, and it'd been 2 days, and I'm like, it just said he passed on, and whatnot, and it didn't say anything other than that. So I figured I'd give it some time, and then listen to Jim Cornette, Brian Last. They said it was a car accident, that he's taking his daughters to cheerleading practice, and some woman driving her car, something happened. She swerved to the other lane, head-on collision. Jay didn't make it. Daughters were severely injured, but they had to make a full recovery. So I guess I should just say it from my point of view of what I was honestly, earnestly, legitimately feeling, even though it felt foolish to feel it. I'll tell you why I felt foolish when I get to it. So when I found out, it's jarring. It's like, how can I say, right across your chest and right across your upper rib cage. Below that section, like your mid-rib area, is this pressure that hits, and you can't, not you, the proverbial you, but I was stunned, and it shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't happen. It's almost like, some kind of force, some kind of entity spiting success. That's what it's like. I knew they would win the belts. I knew they was going to get the belts back in the next confrontation if there were one. And they did. All right. They just got the belts. It was a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Why this? Why now? And I was angry. I wanted vindication. I wanted justice. And, tears and sobbing and rage. It was just rage. And there's no one to turn it on. I'm not going to turn it on my family. I'm not going to turn it on, glorious listeners out there. And I don't want to internalize it, and I don't want to hold it in. So I find other things, and I try to cope not to hold it in, just to let it out where I can, whether it's gaming or something random, a loud clap. That I do loud claps at home. Just one bow. There's a small story, non-wrestling story about that, but still. And I just let it out slowly. And I'm still letting it out. And I do that in my commentary. So, commentary for Fire Pro anyway. So, to that, all I can think about was his daughters. They wake up, or they don't. You're woozy. But after a car accident, you are literally from a few seconds to several minutes. You're not there. Mentally, you're still jarred. You're trying to gain a grip on everything. Systems checking. Your brain is checking itself. Your body almost goes into a shutdown mode. And it hurt to think that at some point they may ask, "Where's Dad?" And then somebody's got to tell them. I thought about Mark. You know, it's one thing to have a brother. It's another when you wrestle with them day in and day out. That's an extra connection. And like brothers, they have at each other every once in a while in wrestling. They take that mess on each other, and they will, throw potatoes in that ring. They're good for that. Now, the Mark has to. I can't even try to imagine. I'm not even gonna. Have I lost? Yes, I have lost too many people. No, too many people I know have died and lost. I know where they are. They're either in the ground or in the box as ashes. I know where they are. I haven't lost them. I know what lost means. I get it. But no, they're dead. They died. I want to be so brutally honest. So, Jay dying enraged me, and I felt stupid for being angry. I don't know him. Never met him. Don't know of him. Don't. And I felt stupid for feeling so emotional over someone that I'll never know, that I'll never meet. So, yeah, that it was that. It was, stuck between that. I'm curious how any of you felt learning about it or whatnot. And so many people have died of COVID. So many people have died. So many families have lost so many people. It's like, can it just stop? Just 1 year? Just give it a year. Nobody dies. Just give it one goddamn year. Just 1 year of decency. No gun massacres or human massacres through guns. No road rage. No DVs or domestic violence or DVCs, domestic violence cases. No one dies. No illness. Just give it 365 days. Just give it that straight up. Just 1 damn year. Just one. But it's not going to happen. It'd be nice if it could. It'd be beautiful if it would. So, it took some soul searching. Not long. About a week. And it's what they represented that we lost. A lot of people don't know it. They don't see it. And for those that, they only worry about what's deemed major wrestling. I watch Pro Wrestling Noah at times, now that I can find it. Thanks to Jimmy Whisper and Zemo Times 2. Although I don't watch it all the time, but I do try to catch up. I watch Impact Wrestling. I watched the last pay-per-view they had. You know, it doesn't have to be the cream of the crop for me to watch it, but it has to be way above stupid. And AEW almost lost me until they started having decent things happen at points. But then they got rid of CM Punk, so you've got a lot of decency lost. MJF is there, and he's going to make sure he has a proper legacy. FTR didn't get treated. They want to say great things, but it's obvious that they didn't get treated right. They didn't get treated well. They didn't get put in the proper positions or have decent storylines to go with them. They just didn't. They're not going to try to say a mean thing about anybody there, but they will. But Dax will certainly tell the truth. He's not going to try to say anything mean about anybody, but he's certainly going to tell the truth. And, once to twice a year, one of the future legend tag teams go against the other. FTR and them boys. And I'm talking about legends in traditional style of professional wrestling. Them boys can do any style. They can suit with anybody. And that legitimately is what makes a champion a champion. Even if that style is something that others don't like or whatnot, when those wrestlers or that wrestler can stick with that style, that's championship quality. But at the same time, your personal legacy means that you want people to remember you a certain way. So that brings me to Mark and Jay Briscoe as a tag team. What people don't understand about the Briscoes as a tag team is that they wrestled the Southern style. If you take a trip to the South and you ever see a fight, it is not anything you'll see in the movies or up north. It's completely different. People in the South fight like the Briscoes did in the ring, more or less. In the South, there's going to be punches. They're going to throw you across the ground. They're going to kick you. It's going to be a scrap. It's not going to be some awesome anime stand-up back and forth thing with lots of punches and stuff. It's not. And look, it's not going to be what certain modern wrestlers do with the multiple spin kicks and back fists and back elbows and chopping back and forth and stuff. No, it's, the Briscoes do their pro wrestling, but they fight Southern. Jay threw a boot kick. Where did he throw the kick or did his foot yank him along? We in this house we found it fun to say that it yanked him along. The foot wanted something, he just had to go with it. They had their style and they became rougher as time went on. The Briscoes was a force, a devastating force in that ring. And because they're not WWE, were they really good? For people that think that way, I can't help but say they're better than you. Because it's not about the promotion you're in that makes you good. It's not. It's not how many belts you hold that makes you good, even though they've held quite a few. It's who you go against. It's how you learn what you learn and how you apply what you learn. It's, are you safe in that ring but look devastating? Do you take care of your opponent while making yourself look good? Do you make your opponent look great while teaching your opponent, and vice versa? Professional wrestling is a kaleidoscope of experience and wisdom, and the Briscoes had all of it. We're going to miss that. Going to miss it. I'm sad and I'm angry right now thinking about it. And I am struggling to hold it together. But this is something I didn't want to do, because I knew I wouldn't be able to hold it together, because I hate loss. I hate goodbyes. And at times you can even hear it because I hate ending my shows. As much as I want to get done with all the matches, when it's that last match and I'm signing off, it's sometimes a bit annoying because I wanted to keep it going. That's why I try to be so, I try to get crowd participation when I do what I do. The Briscoes, Kurt Hennig, Road Warriors, Steiner Brothers, they inspired a lot of the style in CR Fire Pro. If I were a pro wrestler, they wouldn't have too much of influence on me, because I don't know if I would do any of the things that they would do particularly, not sure. But they would inspire me in the ways that others don't understand inspiration from pro wrestling. From the Briscoes, I would certainly take that communication. I would take away that, I would take from them the takeaway from it. I would take away the being there for your partner when no one else even sees that you're around. I would take away that forward quickness, brutality that both had. Mark has the style of just stand your ground and beat on somebody, counter them, and then do something devastating once you counter them, but not beforehand. If you watch Mark, it's not all the time, but that is his standard. That thing you fall back on when things fail, it breaks down. You got to find yourself and get the match back going again. That's what he does. And he finds it, bam, right there again. Now they in a flow. Jay, when things get out of hand and don't know what to do, he would just punch or kick someone, lay him cold, and then he walk around the ring, let him reset, let him see what's got to go on, get to the next section of the match, pick them up. Now they know what to do. It was a thing. Little things that I saw, little things like that I would take with me, that I would take from them. Those would be my takeaways. So, I feel horrible. Jay's gone. His suffering, his misery, if there were any post-accident, is over. It's not him that be suffering. It's those that knew him. The school community that pretty much depended on him, more or less. Depended on him, knew him, loved him. I mean, it's not easy doing this, but his wife, his kids, his brother, his father, especially his father, because you're not supposed to bury your children. You're not supposed to bury your children. I don't care how these people may have acted in the past. I don't care what may have been said, how they treated people behind closed doors. This situation, this loss, this is innocence. This is the personification of innocence. Because no matter, let's say there were people around them that were vile, contemptible people with no redeeming qualities, and they deserve to be locked up in prison, even put in Guantanamo Bay, maybe. Maybe they were terrorists in the making, or whatever the heck. But this loss, you can't say, oh, they deserve this pain. No, this is an innocence. So I want y'all to understand what innocence is. That's innocence. They are innocent to this. That pain is when you can just say, I have empathy for you. Yeah, you should be locked up, but right now we're going to hug it out. You need this hug because this loss is that painful. So when people do go through loss, even if I do not like those people, my sympathies go out. Because that's That's not pain they asked for nor deserve. So, moving forward, there's the match. Jay Lethal is on the stage. When he comes out and he's having to keep from bawling. I was in the same area. I'm there now. Okay, look, I'm there now. This is, whew. And the hug, and they go to the back. Jay goes to the ring, and he is just, he's messed up. Mark, he comes out. I'm not going to go over the match. But Mark comes out. Mark, I hope, this is, I'm going to speak pre-hindsight, okay? This is before the match. I'm going to go through my thoughts before the match. And I hope Mark has done all the crying that he can do. Crawl up in a corner, curl himself up in a ball, and just boo-hoo until the night comes and the day ends, over and over until, That's what I was hoping. You deserve it. Cry every day. For 40 more years, just go ahead. So when he comes out, he's Mark Briscoe. He is hype. He got the belt. He is energized. The crowd is all about it. That's how Mark is. This is his first time on AEW. He could have been in AEW a long time ago. See, I don't need him to be in AEW. I don't. No one does. No one did. But they did need for them to have the opportunity to be there if they so wished. That's what they need. That's what they needed. That's what all of us need, and that's what all of us deserve, and that's what they deserve more than us as wrestlers, as talent, to be able to go to AEW if they so needed it or wanted to. And some person or persons on TBS or whatnot, or Turner Broadcasting, anything, or Turner Network, anything, they didn't want him there for some reason. Maybe it's that tweet that Jay let out umpteen billion, gazillion, trillion years ago that he had long since apologized for, and then showed that he was absolutely against his mentality then. Because everything that he wrote was, "You're not going to mess up my children. I will kill you before that happens." And then when he learned the truth and learned what was happening, he's like, "Oh, my bad. I'm sorry." I've seen him work with Effie, and I've seen him work with others in the LGBTQ IA community or the rainbow community. I've seen that. And I've seen how he showed them love, sometimes pre-match, every time post-match. I mean, you don't get more stand-up than that. He learned, he evolved, and, doing what's right and being there for the community, doing what he can for innocuous people. Now that is a man's man right there. That is a strong alpha male. Doing what you can to help the people around you. Ain't about being right. Ain't about showing your strength and your might and all that, and no one can touch you. You're unbeatable. No, it's taking care of those and elevating people around you. That was Jay. in the locker room, on the roads, on the farm, in the schools. That was Jay Briscoe. So Mark comes down there. Jay Lethal is messed up. He's all messed up. Mark gets, hugs him and gets in his ear, tells him something. Whew. Jay is worse off after that. But after that, Mark made sure in that ring, if you watch that match, Mark Briscoe made sure Jay Lethal's mind is going to be on the match. Not necessarily who the opponent is, but the match. And he pulled Jay out of himself. He pulled Jay out of himself, and Jay had a match. They had a beautiful match. I have watched Mark and Jay wrestle numerous times. I've watched Jay and Jay wrestle numerous times. I have watched the Briscoes versus Jay Lethal and pick a partner many times. Okay, some of the best were, I'm going to say, with Jonathan Gresham. I've seen it. Now, for those that don't know, for those that didn't see, that was what you saw was a standard match. They added the table. They added, that was really it. The table spot, the froggy bowl on the table, that's what they added. That was just for AEW fans, because they normally wouldn't do that. If it was a pay-per-view, they're going to do it. If it's an angle before pay-per-view, they're going to do it. Nope, they did it just for the AEW fans. That wasn't for them. That wasn't for something extreme or something like that in Ring of Honor. That was for the fans. They get back in the ring. They do their thing. And before the match, I thought one thing that people are going to be looking for, and something that as I told Cedra, I'm going to be looking for it, and I hope it never happens. I didn't want to see Mark break down in the ring. I thought it was too soon for him to come back to wrestling. Some people, they just gotta work off. They gotta work it off. And this comes on the heels of Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes losing their mother. People are gonna, the family members are gonna die. There are. It's just, people, for all intents and purposes, losing people. It's going to happen. People are going to die. And Mark and Jay had that match. And I said, before anyone came out, I even said it before the show even started, I said, this match is going to end showing love to Jay, because Mark's going to win with the Jay Driller. And lo and behold, he did. That's what he did. 1, 2, 3. It's over. And shit. Gotta wait for that knot in my throat to go away. So after the match, Mark gives his final goodbyes to Jamin. And I was messed up. Worse than I am now. Miss him. I'm going to miss that in-ring work. I'm going to miss those promos. I'm going to miss it. The Briscoes. Let me explain something. There's some personal things, and you're going to find it stupid, but this is how we are here. This is Cedric and Cedra. This is how we're thinking. This is how we were. Give y'all every little idiot thought and whatnot of the Briscoes from inception to now. Shit. So, the Briscoes. We first saw them, okay. Young and all that. Ring of Honor goes away. We finally able to see him again, getting money and whatnot. You got no money, you got no wrestling. You know, when it's $9.99, you on pay-per-view, you can't see anything. But then we see them grow in tag team experience. We see them get better. You know, we see all this, and we didn't know. It's the Briscoes. They were always super tanned. They carried themselves a certain way. They did. This is before they got the moniker of them boys. Okay, and I'm going to fill y'all in on that in a little bit. But when we finally got Ring of Honor back, we was able to see the Briscoes again, because it had been so long, we were like, Mark is there, usually in the background, kind of making sure his brother stay on track, stay on target. That's what Mark does. You go back and watch all their interviews together. Mark keeps Jay on track. Jay is super fired up. They Southern boys, they speak Southern. If I got fired up and I'm talking trash to somebody, I'm going to probably sound like Jay Briscoe. So for me and Cedar, we was like, now, yo, are we racist? Listen to this. We didn't know if the Briscoes were black or not. We couldn't tell because, one, tanned, and they are always in these weird areas in the arena or on their farm. And we was working on a really outdated TV. Black or not, it didn't matter. But the way they spoke, they weren't from up north. The way they carried themselves, jaw jacking, walking around, doing what they got to do. I know what they want to do, but they got to cater to the camera. That's Southern. That's just, that's what we live in the South. We live further south than they do. But they Southern nonetheless. And we was like, we don't know if they black or not. Didn't matter. Because when they got in that ring, they were us. That's what we saw. They were us. And before they became them boys, for everyone else that ever knew about them, before they became that, and that was on their moniker and no, they were them boys to us. Because that's a Southern thing. Them boys, that's a Southern thing. And it's a thing that's universal for the South. Them boys could mean those are the ones that cause trouble. Those are the ones that you look out for. Those are the ones that are always doing something fun. It means that they're a group, whether it has to be two or more. All right. And it's just it's a Southern term, a Southern slang. Even if it could be 5 dudes, 5 brothers, and a sister. Okay? Like, well, there go them boys and their sister. And they be like, that's them family over there. Watch out for them family. Not that family. Not those people. Them family. Watch out for them family. That's how they get on. Watch out. It's Southern Universal. And my cousins, Michael and Brandon, not giving last names. And one of them is using the middle name. Not going to say which. But growing up, that's who they were to me, Michael and Brandon, even though I know their full names. But that's when I saw the Briscoes, I saw my cousins. And my cousins are mixed. They're mixed. So I saw them. If they were wrestlers, they would be like the Briscoes. I promise you. That or the Steiners. Because with my cousins, I could see the Steiners too. No, I can't see the Road Warriors. I couldn't see Demolition. I couldn't see Doom. Can't see, the Rock and Roll Express or any incarnation of the Midnight Express or or anything like that. Nope. Steiner Brothers and the Briscoes. That's it. That's who I was like. They were wrestlers. That'd be them. When I saw the Briscoes winning their belts and things like that, and I didn't have to lose it again. We moved. Time went by. Couldn't get anything from Ring of Honor. Didn't have the money. Then we see it again. Find out Jay was a former champion. He had the belt back and saw him wrestling. And he was using the butterfly power driver, as he called the Jay Driller. And for CR Fire Pro, in honor of Jay Briscoe, whenever someone does that, mainly Heat does that. I don't give a lot of people the same finishers and whatnot. I try not to. But that's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it the J Driller. Honor and memory of a great wrestler, a great man, a fantastic father. So this has gone long and I miss him. Don't know him, never met him. But yeah, tired of the loss, sick of it, but I'm glad they got through that match. I'm glad that I at least got to see Jay Briscoe wrestle. You know, wasn't happy about him going to Game Changer Wrestling, but yet him going to Game Changer Wrestling and then seeing Game Changer Wrestling being a part of Ring of Honor, it certainly showed his growth that some jackwad wanted to ignore on TBS broadcasting staff. Because if Jay was working with AEW, if he was working at AEW and Ring of Honor, he had to take these long tour dates, there's a chance that he wouldn't have been home to be in that car accident. There's that chance. There's a chance that he might have done the trip sooner or later. Somebody else would have done it, and they certainly wouldn't have done it at the same time. So there's a chance that nobody would have been hurt. The woman would have ran off the road, killed herself maybe, or totaled her car, but he'd be here. We don't know what would happen. No one knows, but it's possible. And because it's possible, it shows the egregiousness of whomever was blocking Jay Briscoe, Mark Briscoe, them boys from being in AEW. And that's where you can lay the blame. If you want to lay any blame, it's whomever that person or those people were that blocked them. That's where, because they are that factor. So if the family if they want to be able to sue somebody and something, find a way. Stephen P. New, hey, see what can happen. Most likely not, victim of circumstance. But still, check into it. You never know. Lawyers can do some amazing things sometimes. I mean, if they can keep known criminals out of prison, I mean, come on. Give it a try. But no matter what, forever and a day, they're going to be them boys. So, in a more positive way and not the way Jay does it for his intro. Reach for the sky, boy. Because it's just awesome to do so. We miss you, Jay. Let's hope Mark have a great wrestling career. That's if he wants to keep wrestling. Yeah. Give me your thoughts at the bottom. This was tough, but I got through it. So with that, this has been Cedric for CR Wrestling Commentary. Thoughts on them boys. Thank you for listening, and this is for YouTube, so I got other stuff for Spreaker. So with that, thank you for listening, and see you next time.